The Jimmy Butler era in Miami is officially over after the team suspended him for 7 games for saying this.
That's not what I'm used to being. I haven't been that since, I don't know, my first, second, third year in the league, where I just went out there and played defense. But I competed. I guarded.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
Basically lighting the building on fire before walking out the door. But if anybody is shocked by this, you haven't been following the Jimmy Butler story, or you are the world's most optimistic person. Unfortunately for Jimmy Butler though, a bad reputation is one of the stickiest things in the NBA, especially for an aging star on the decline with a piling injury history. The saddest part of all of this is Butler was really hoping to get paid one last time. And despite the fact that multiple other teams could trade for him, the only real team that was ever gonna give Butler that max extension is the one he just eviscerated, his own Miami Heat. Let's talk. Hello, YouTube fam!
You see, it's me! It's me!
It's your boy, Big V! The biggest Miami Heat fan in all the land. And as sad as I am to see my boy go, it is exactly like clockwork. Here is the Jimmy Butler experience in a nutshell. Plays super well, gets a lot of wins for your team, overachieves, then gets injured, falls out with management when the team starts losing, gets traded or let go, moves to new team, has the craziest honeymoon phase. I think Jimmy Butler is the GOAT of NBA honeymoon phases. Shows you that he is the ultimate winner, especially in clutch time. Organization thinks, oh, we'll put up with whatever Jimmy brings to the table, which is a lot, because winning papers over everything. But again, as soon as things start to turn and Jimmy gets injured or someone says something to piss him off, Jimmy is back to falling out with teammates and management and either being let go or traded. Unfortunately, in Miami, it really did look like this was a marriage made in heaven, not just a honeymoon. The Miami Heat, known for being the grittiest team around, also being headed by the Godfather, Pat Riley, one of the greatest winners of all time. And Jimmy Butler is a grinder, a guy who wants to go out there and leave it all out on the court. A perfect marriage for the Miami Heat. As Spoelstra has said,
Jimmy leads with everything. His spirit, his soul, his competitive nature, and it's all out there on his sleeves. And that's what we love about him. I've mentioned to him, when we first met him, and then in the subsequent years after that, he never has to apologize, ever.
It seemed that there was so much respect between the Heat and Jimmy Butler, and rightfully so. Jimmy has given Miami Heat his best, and it has resulted in some of the greatest moments ever for our franchise. We can never fault Jimmy Butler for not giving it his all for us, because the proof is in the pudding. But the problem is, in this scenario, the unstoppable object that is Jimmy Butler has been met by the immovable force that is Pat Riley. Pat Riley is not one to give contracts based on past achievements. Just look at what happened with Dwayne Wade. Pat Riley is old school, Pat Riley is not going to be bullied, and Pat Riley is the head of the table wherever he is. Even LeBron James couldn't get Pat Riley to change his mind. So, nor will Jimmy Butler. And so the way to not get that contract is to go out in the media when you are injured for your team's playoff series and you don't play and your team gets bounced, to say,
If I was playing, Boston would be at home, New York damn sure would be fucking at home.
Is where it all began, leading to Pat Riley saying this.
Is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut.
It was all brushed under the rug kind of, because it was like, these are the Heat, this is how they talk, these guys go at each other, but it'll all be good, it'll all be good. But truthfully, that didn't sit well with good old Jimmy. Like, it didn't. And I can see it from Jimmy's perspective a little, because He had done so much for Miami. I think he felt he deserved that little bit of arrogance, that little bit of showing off to be like, yeah, I've proven myself. So if I was playing, we'd be winning, right? And for a superstar player, you want them to have that attitude, for sure. But there's a time and place. And when you're a member of the Miami Heat, the most no-nonsense organization headed by the most no-nonsense guy in the NBA, you have to know when to keep your mouth shut, as Pat Riley said. And you could tell that that little exchange already was gonna bleed into this season because they had not offered Butler that extension. So now we have the two things. There's the lack of respect from the verbal side of it, and then there's the lack of respect from, hey, we're gonna see how it is before we extend you. We're gonna see how you're performing. It doesn't matter that you've taken us to the finals twice. And that, I can see how that would piss off Jimmy Butler. But you can also see it from the organization standpoint, right? You're paying a guy $55 million and he's averaged 54 games. And on top of that, since the finals run, which is now a year and a half removed, it seems like his availability and performance is slightly on the decline. I would never bet against Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy still has a lot in the tank. But the problem is his body is failing him. And we've seen it time and time again. You can see that players have will. Players like Jimmy Butler, we can never question their will. But if their body doesn't cooperate, then it becomes tough. And so apparently there was an added layer here of an altercation with Butler and a Miami Heat assistant coach who accused him of not playing hard. And I think this is, while it might not be the actual straw, I think it definitely could be, because after everything this guy has given you, you choose not to extend him, you admonish him in the media instead of protecting him. And then while his body is breaking down after giving everything for you, you then accuse him of not trying hard or quitting on the team. I can totally see it from Jimmy's standpoint. That's a pretty disgusting accusation. It is. And it does make this muddier than it needs to be. The Miami Heat were well within their rights to not extend an aging superstar in his decline. A superstar who has proven through his times in Chicago, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and now Miami that he's great in the trenches in the playoffs when the team is good and the team is playing well. But when things start to turn, the Jimmy Butler experiment starts to go sour. It's been proven, and it's happened again. The saddest part of all of this is Miami is still the best team suited for Jimmy Butler, especially at this current point. He said he wants to be traded to the Rockets, the Suns, the Warriors. The Grizzlies have emerged as a contender. The Hawks have been floated. But here's the thing. How is Jimmy gonna fit in terms of his personality? His ability to fit in on the basketball court, that should not even be an issue. Jimmy can fit in on any team because he'll do what's needed to be done. He doesn't need a lot to fit into an offense. He's a very good superstar that way. You don't need to worry about Jimmy's fit on the court, but it's off the court. It's how is he gonna get along with the young players, right? Like, Golden State just got Wiggins back to a mentally good place where he can play. Are you trying to re-traumatize the guy by giving him back Jimmy Butler? Really? Do the Warriors need Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler at the same time? Bruh, I ain't a fortune teller, but man, that's oil and water if I ever seen it. Houston Rockets, they don't want a guy who's gonna come in and disrupt that culture. They have a bunch of young dudes who are all feeding off each other's confidence. That doesn't work with Jimmy. We've seen it, right? And then if you think about the Suns offered Bradley Beal, which Miami declined right away. They said they didn't want his ass. And Bradley Beal would have to waive his no-trade clause anyway. Oh yeah, so Bradley Beal's gonna waive his no-trade clause for a team that doesn't want him. Side note, he also actually loves being in Phoenix and playing there. Oh man. So that Phoenix is out, right? So that's out. Memphis, yes, they're a dark horse contender, but how will that precarious situation play out? Is Jimmy gonna put up with Ja Morant and his antics? I don't think so, man. Team chemistry is important, and this is the problem with Jimmy's outburst. Saying this,
where I just went out there and played defense. But I competed, I guarded, I try not to let my man score. But that's what I'm doing now.
or this.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
It sucks that you don't have the joy of playing, but at the same time, you're a professional athlete. You are making $55 million a year. However, whatever motivation you need to play the game at the highest level, that's on you. That's not up to anybody else. It's not anybody else to make it joyful or not. And truthfully, Jimmy, as much as you have done for the Heat and as much as we as Heat fans are thankful, which we deeply are, I will always have the biggest spot for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is a dog. He's what I thought a ride or die is. He's someone who profiles to be a great team member. But then if he has this constant history of falling out and not respecting hierarchy and demanding entitlements because of what he's done for you, that can work when you're 25 or even 30 in your prime producing. But now when you're 35 and you're angling to move out from the team and you have a spotty injury history with repetitive bad behavior, plus you have now offended the most powerful back office guy in the league in Pat Riley. I still believe Jimmy Butler is going to land on his feet because he always seems to. But the thing that has made Jimmy Butler so successful, also funnily enough, has been the thing that has unraveled him at the end. Sad to see you go, brother. Thanks for the memories.